Hello and welcome to GeloLogic. Today I want to talk about user-friendly edit box. User-friendly doesn't really come together with the AnyLogic, but we'll try our best. Take a look to the screen. On start screen I have parameter, let me run it, which define diameter of those little dots. I could change it, something like 0.9. Let me run it. You see it become real bigger. I could change it, make it ridiculously bigger, or I could make them ridiculously small. So for example 0.1, and you got idea. And it's kind of obvious that we should put some limitation. Let's try AnyLogic way. Edit box is linked to the variable. We can easily set up minimum and maximum values. Now run it. Let's see. 0.1, ba-boom, it changed. We will put 10, ta-da, it changed. It works, but this functionality is not user-friendly. Why? Because it didn't notify user what is going on. First and easiest way to do it is just a put label. For example, I can type diameter minimum equal, like I said, 0.1 and maximum is equal 0.9. Is it nice? No. First of all, you can see that I already need adjust position of my controls. Most importantly, that application didn't notify user that he did something wrong. Let me reverse my labels changes. For that reason, let me grab this label, copy, and I'll put it here and give a name something like error text. Now I have the place where I'm gonna put information about the error. Now back to the edit box. Let's try simple idea, just verifying variable. If our variable less than 0.1 or 0.4, I'm sorry, I'm gonna provide some simple message. Error minimum is 0.4. Okay, right now I'm just gonna leave it as is because I want to show that this approach doesn't work. If we run it, change it, for example, to 0.1, and behavior of our edit box doesn't change. Why? Because this action code is called after edges verified. Because we want to put special functionality in case of error, we couldn't use any logic link between field and variable. It means we should grab information directly from the field. Okay, I'll put here get text return string, so we need to convert it to the double. Let me put this function here. Well, it converted to the double now. If it's less than minimum value, I open bracket. We definitely want to place error message, and after that we should assign correct value to our variable. To be consistent with AnyLogic, it should become equal minimum 0.4, and our edit box should get correct value. If everything's okay, let me open and close bracket. Here what we want to assign variable to the new value, and our new value this guy. Let's see how it goes. First, we should notice we don't have default value here. Second, change it to the 0.1. Nice, we will get the message. If we change, for example, to the correct value, something like 0.5, our message didn't disappear, which is wrong. What we need to clean up error message in case if everything's good, and we wanna put the default. Now I just wanna mention one thing. You see we have those 0.4, 0.4 here, and if you're gonna put the value to the 0.4 here, if for example your default value changed to the 0.3, you should manually go and change all those 0.4 to the 0.3. That example should encourage you to use variable for default minimum value. I'm gonna add another value which I call a minimum value, better to call default minimum value. Okay, it will be double and I make it constant. So now if we just grab the name, sorry, here we place it here, I just use the empty string to do automatic casting double to the string. Okay, so now if we run it and change it to the 0.1, voila, changed and we got the message. Change to the correct value, it disappear. I mean message disappear. Nice, but we are not done. Why? Because user could accidentally put some string instead of digits. Some gibberish here, boom, and we have exception. As you understand, this is not user-friendly behavior. Even experienced people doesn't like idea open standard output to research the issue. It means our code should have exceptions handling. I don't want to spend time explaining what's the exception handling and how it implements in the Java. Here I just gonna mention that the problem code should go inside try block. So we're gonna put there try open brackets, move everything to the right. Try block should be followed by catch block, which actually gonna catch exception. I should specify type of exception. If you go to the Java documents, you could find out that this guy is throwing number format exception. Okay, when exception is caught, we're gonna put error text, and after that return old value, I mean previous value. Let me try. Let's put some gibberish here. Click and hooray, we got message and value in our string restore. I should mention that providing information in the label is not really best practice, because you should reserve some space on your screen for the message. It is much better to use solution where you don't have any conflict between size of the message and size of the reserved space. One of those solutions is using pop-up screen for the error message. Unfortunately, AnyLogic APIs doesn't provide good tool. We couldn't really call dialog directly. We need use getExperimentHost function, which return experiment. And if you do the control space, you could find show message dialog. Let's move our message. So in that case we don't need it. We don't need it here as well. Let's see. Okay, incorrect value. Click, boom, message. Minimum value is 0.4. As you can see, design is minimalistic, but at least we have pop-up message. We have one more message. Let's do it something different here. Call show error dialog. So we will have it here. Let me change message. Okay, we don't need error text anymore. This one is a header. I could say here your error. Okay, anyway, let me check how it's gonna work. Let's put some gibberish, boom, and we got different pop-up message screen. Again, design minimalistic, but it's a different message box. Let's think about the situation if we have multiple edit boxes. Now I have two fields. That would be diameter 1 and this one diameter 2. Diameter 2 could have absolutely different minimum value, so we need duplicate minimum value as well. On set of variables. Now, because I copy the field, I have those functionality here, and I actually could go and manually change variables to the correct names. Just changing the names and variables here and edit work here. Let's change the minimum to be different, something like 0.2. So if we have those two parameters, and here we will have like 0.1, click and got the message, everything changed here. We could say like 0.1, click here, we got the message saying about the minimum value, and it didn't change. It didn't change because I probably messed up here. Oh yes, as you see, I messed up here. Let me check again. So 0.1, we got the message, it's changed. So you see, it's easy. Just grab the all fields and copy. But best practice is to place common code to separate method. Let me grab function and call it something like check minimum. We need to pass field itself as a parameter. Field class is shape text field. What else do we need? We need minimum value. Okay, function going to return double. So let me grab logic and copy it here, and let me modify it. First we will verify the value of the field. Field is checked for the minimum. If it's not, we give information about the minimum and we set to the minimum, or our minimum value. Okay, so because the return here, we don't need this, just return the value. Here we need to change it to the field. Okay, now we got the problem. Function doesn't know what to return in case of exception. In that case, we're gonna ask for default value. So in this case, for all exception, we will give the message and return default value. So now we take our function. We don't need this guy anymore. This is our edit box. Second is a minimum and default value. We don't need this anymore. Let's run it. Change the first to the 0.1. We got message. Change to gibberish. We close it, and for some reason it didn't change. Okay, I mess up, and let me change because I'm sorry, I forgot one thing right here. We need set text to default value. Okay, now it's supposed to work correctly. Let's see. 0.1, boom, gibberish, boom. And same story here. 0.1 changed, gibberish change, correct, value changed. As you could see here, we have all correct values as well. Now we finished. As I can say earlier, you could use this code to create check for the maximum value. I hope you learned something new today. See you next time.